Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to...
Yep.
Shorter attention... What I was doing and things like that. Hopefully it helps you out. You know, hopefully... Hello, boys and girls, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Storytime with Uncle Mason. We are continuing our Friday Fun Day Infomercial Day. So, before I get started with our arousal symptoms, my friend Heather has decided that she wants to partake in the 22 push-up-a-day challenge. So, Heather, this video is for you, and I hope that wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you enjoy doing these push-ups. So we've already covered re-experiencing symptoms as well as avoidance symptoms. Now the last bit on this little packet here was a little thing called arousal. Now arousal, for your dirty birdies out there, is not about what turns you on sexually. Arousal is what makes you angry. Now, according to our big book of symptoms here, or I'm sorry, a big board of symptoms here, let me go get the book real quick. So, for arousal symptoms, it's basically fearing further trauma. PTSD sufferers are always on the alert, on guard, jumpy, unable to sleep, angry, irritable. Many have concentration and memory problems. So for arousal, this one falls into the anger category of the depression, anxiety, and anger of your PTSD. So some of the symptoms that are involved under the arousal, again, are anger, irritability, or some people call it a short fuse, just really quick to getting angry. Like simple stuff will just throw you over the edge. Hypervigilance, where you're always on guard. Easily startled, where something very simple just freaks you completely out. Substance abuse. Now this one is different from substance abuse and avoidance, because in avoidance you were drinking, using drugs or whatever to avoid the situation. This one is just so that you can feel numb, because you don't want to be angry or pent up anymore. Slow thinking, confusion, problems concentrating, poor memory, trouble falling or staying asleep, night sweats, adrenaline rushes for no reason, like just you're breathing heavy, your heart's racing, questioning and abandoning your faith, which, you know, links back to this book here. Fear of becoming violent, and then inevitably becoming violent or provoking fights. Homicidal thoughts, anniversary actions, which are basically the days where that's associated with your trauma, whatever day they are, is when you have the biggest day of your symptoms. You're adrenaline junkie, trying to go out and catch that buzz. And then finally, self-mutilation, cutting, and excessive tattooing. Now, I threw excessive tattooing in there because it was in the book. As you can tell, I don't think tattoos are that big of a deal, but it's in the book, we're going to cover it. So, basically, of all these guys that affected me, anger was my big one. I was always pissed off about everything. So I definitely had a short fuse. Hypervigilance depended on the situation where I was at. Easily startled, same there. When it came to substance abuse, I wasn't really trying to get drunk to calm down. I was more trying to get drunk not to think about anything. Slow thinking, confusion, problems concentrating. It took me forever to learn how to read, so that's natural. Poor memory. Now, this one is key because there's a lot of folks that come back from overseas or that have experienced a traumatic event that have really tough time remembering what happened to them. That was my case. I had a tough time really just not remembering what happened, but just remembering little things throughout the day. Like I'd walk into a room and completely forget why I was there. One day I walked halfway to PT without any shoes on. Trouble falling and staying asleep, not really. Night sweats, not really. Adrenaline rush for no reason, not really. Questioning, abandoning faith, now that was there. Fear of becoming violent, not really. Becoming violent or provoking fights. Now I was trying to provoke fights, mainly because I like to fight. And almost got my tail whipped a couple times because of that. Homicidal thoughts, not really. Adverse reactions, yeah, yes and no. Adrenaline junkie, not really. And then finally, self-mutilation, cutting, and excessive tattooing. Again, not really on that one. So basically, if you guys are keeping track at home on your handy-dandy scoreboard, just remember to write down all these symptoms here and then list them out from a scale of 0 to 10. With 0 being they don't affect you at all, and 10 being your life is uncontrollable because they are in control of your life. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick overview or a quick review of what we've learned. That's how we retain information. Oh yeah, hope you enjoy these push-ups, Heather. I'm going to enjoy watching you do push-ups. Can't see my handiwork. Alrighty, so basically what we have covered are the 3 basic symptoms groups for this book that cover your question, where was God? So we covered re-experiencing the trauma and things you try to do to avoid it, which led to avoidance, which ultimately led to the arousal. So you've got your anxiety, your depression, and your anger here, and they all kind of interplay with where was God, because you're anxious about why God wasn't there when the trauma was happening, why He's not there now, why you're experiencing these symptoms. You can become depressed because you don't see anything getting better. You don't see that your efforts are being rewarded, and then finally you become angry and lose your faith with God because your efforts aren't being rewarded. So it's a vicious cycle, and they all feed into each other, a lot like the 3 basic symptoms of PTSD. But again, this is based just on your moral injury, so this is just focused on trying to fix that. So with that being said, there was a question in the book that I wanted to ask. And before I do that, I just wanted to say that if you're in the cycle here and you're wondering more and more where your faith, why your faith is not being rewarded, the only thing the book really says about that is just be persistent. Anything worth having is worth working for, and that includes having a relationship with God. So finally, the question that I want to ask. The question is, what do you miss about your life before the trauma? There we go. And so basically, if you're keeping track at home and you're keeping track of your symptoms, just go ahead and ask yourself, what do you miss the most about your life before the trauma? Delve a little bit into my life. I was a lot more carefree. I'm a little bit more hesitant and protective now, but I was a lot more carefree. Not a whole lot of things bothered me before I went overseas. So this is an important question for you to ask because it's going to play later on into the book. So with that being said, we've got some push-ups to knock out, and we're going to continue on with the 1980s here. Alrighty, you guys stay tuned. We are going to continue on with Information Friday here in a little bit. I'm going to knock out another video for you. Probably going to be the last one for the day. So I hope you guys enjoy. Hope you're all learning something. And I will see you all shortly.